Hello, welcome to Catholic Life, Ordinary People with Extraordinary Faith. I'm Deacon Jody Moscona. Thank you for joining us today, and I should switch seats with my guest today because I'm sitting in Dina Dow's seat, formerly different name, and she's sitting in my seat because she used to run the show here.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
What an introduction.
I'm so happy you've kept this show going. So it's very important to continue Catholic life and spotlighting all the beautiful things that are happening in our diocese and around the world.
So Dina is the director of Evangelization and Catechesis for the Diocese of Baton Rouge, and she is muy importante.
Oh, I don't know.
I think so,
First
because
shall be last. Yes.
evangelization is muy importante, so you have a very important role, and we're very happy that you're there. And I know that you're very, very happy with your staff, one of which is not with us today, but you could tell everybody about Wes.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk a lot about youth and young adult ministry. So, which my title is actually Director of Evangelization, Catechesis, Youth and Young Adult Ministry.
Oh, I added that to it?
Yeah, well, it's always been a part of that, but you know. So our Youth and Young Adult Ministry office is with Evangelization and Catechesis. So Olivia Gulino, who is with us today, is our Associate Director of Youth and Young Adult Ministry, and our Coordinator of Events is Wes Giffen, who is right now working on a special project for the Red Stick Festival, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. So you have a great team. Barry Shadle's our Associate Director of E&C. Shannon Baldridge is Coordinator of Certification. And of course, you can't forget Michelle Johnson, who keeps us all in line.
So Olivia, when you were here last time, you had a different person with you. We won't talk about him. He abandoned ship on us.
Defector.
Just kidding. No. We love you. Anyway, but I was excited about Wes when I saw that he was coming because he came from MBS where my wife works. So I've been knowing him for a while, and I'm glad y'all gave the boy a job.
Oh, he's going to be he already is a great asset to our office, which is why he's been working on this particular project for the festival, and he just really couldn't be torn away from it. So I said, you know what, stay. I'll go do this. Division of labor. This is what a team is supposed to do. So yeah, he's already been a great asset to our office, and I'm excited for that to continue.
So Dina, between the last time you were here and now, you had the convocation on catechist and catechesis, and so tell us a little bit about it. It was awesome. I was there, but tell us about it.
So I've served this role for 2 years now, a little over 2 years, and one of my main visions was to gather all catechists from the diocese together under one roof, and we're getting close to that. The first year we collected our DREs. Of course, it was the year of the flood, and we had about 75 people. Last year, in 2017, we had about 135. This year, we knocked on the door to 200 people. Fantastic. And it was on a Thursday, which was interesting. So maybe next year it might be on a Saturday, and we can get a lot more people there. So it was Catechetical Sunday, celebrating that coming forth, because this happened on September 6th. Catechetical Sunday was the 16th of September, where the whole nation celebrates catechists. So it's a great way for them to meet the bishop. It's the first time that he really did something on that grand scale with the DREs and the catechists and the priests and the deacons that were there. Of course, you were there.
It was
and
good.
Part of it.
It was excellent.
It was exciting, and different this year was we had some rapid fire speakers. So we started with Bishop Duca, and then Father Andrew Merrick did a profound talk on witnessing for vocations.
Great.
And then we asked Olivia to talk with young adults, mainly about nuns, N-O-N-E-S, those people that are non-affiliated with any church. Danielle Van Hout talked about life. Barry Shadle talked about RCIA and how to go out into the community and find people. It was a great day. It was exciting. People went away really pumped up. I feel like my job some days is just to be a cheerleader for Jesus, and we did that. So now we're beginning our share gatherings, which is individual deanery gatherings around the diocese. So we have 6 gatherings for the next 2 weeks to meet with the DREs locally. So those are their smaller, intimate groups where they serve in the community, glads and sads. How can we be a better resource for them? So those are coming up. So we'll have 3 days one week and 3 days the following week, and we travel the entire diocese. So It's a lot of fun, yeah.
So at the convocation, my takeaways, a couple of things. First of all, you're right. Father Andrew Merrick was just on fire, fuego. He was awesome. And the way he approached vocations is just tremendous, just fun. But my greatest takeaway, I'm on this big thing about how do you communicate with the millennials, and Olivia shows up with a PowerPoint that did all kind of fancy stuff. And I know to millennials it was nothing, but to old people it was like, that's really cool,
The Prezi, just the presentation?
Well, the way the slides worked, and the presentation was phenomenal, and it hit a soft spot because in our parish we've been talking about the NONES, the nuns, those that are asked what religious affiliation do you have, and they say none, and how do you reach out to them? How do you, and one of the things that I took from that is that you have to communicate on their terms.
Well, sure.
And their terms are different than our terms to some extent. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like communication as a basic concept. You have to learn the language before you can communicate with anyone. And for better or for worse, millennials are this group of people, of young adults who have a particular language and a particular way of experiencing the world. And if we as the church don't learn that language, then we put ourselves at a disadvantage when it comes to, we're not talking about conversion, we're talking about just conversing with these people, with people who now consider themselves to be disaffiliated from any church. And so that's the first step in communicating in an authentic way, and also just communicating with people, with human beings, because I think that's another thing that I've seen in a lot of conversation about the nuns is we kind of treat them like a problem, like, oh, well, there's this great cohort of people who have left the Catholic Church specifically, and then the Christian Church even more broadly. So what do we do about it? How do we fix it? And what I really tried to do with my talk was just lay out the facts. And I told Dina the day before, like, I hope it's okay that there's not really a redemptive quality to this yet, because we just got to get into the trenches of the reality of the situation, which is that many of them will not come back. But we also have to always have hope, and that if we approach people with dignity, if we approach people and value their experiences, value their need for meaning, their need for wonder, all of these things, then we're doing the job of evangelization, even if we don't see the fruit, if we don't see the results ourselves.
So Father Josh, when he was on the show a while back, made a comment and he gave us a story about when he was a seminarian, they used to go to the cathedral like when there were festivals going on. And so the worst of the worst would show up and they would be out there inviting them in. And he talked about this one girl that he invited in, and she was obviously, I'm just using the word lost, okay? Be very Christian about it. And she had never set foot in a Catholic church. And so he said he walked her in and sat her in front of the tabernacle. And about 5 minutes later, he says, "You ready to go?" She says, no, I want to stay. She stayed there for an hour, and she told him how profound it was. Well, he said that is encountering Jesus. So if we can get people to have an experience with Jesus, it's better than telling them about Jesus.
Right.
So I don't think we can tell people about Jesus anymore with the communication barriers. We need to share Jesus with them in some way.
And I think it's twofold. Yeah, it's those things, knowing Jesus and knowing about him, working in concert together. And so it's our job to be able to lead people to encounter, and then once they have questions, to be present for those questions.
Absolutely.
Because that's another thing that comes off in this a lot of the research is that the reason that people disaffiliate at a young age, and by disaffiliate I just mean leave for another denomination or just leave altogether. The reason that they do that most predominantly is because they have questions that aren't being answered.
That can't be answered. They can be answered, but they're not.
They can be answered.
Right, and maybe they're not asking them, maybe they're not courageous enough to ask them and they're hoping someone will offer it, or maybe they are asking and they're not getting sufficient answers.
Right.
And so I think that, that's a beautiful example of being present with someone. You notice that he walked her in, he stayed with her.
Yeah, and he stayed.
And that's our job. We can't just kind of have this carpool mentality of evangelization where, well, the church is right there, mass is at 9 in the morning, good luck. We have to really be willing to walk with people and to be willing to enter into their experience of hurt or of confusion or of doubt and be present in there and offer whatever light we can or find the light if it's in another person or if you can find answers somewhere else. But again, that means intentionally listening, being present.
And our role in the focus of Catechetical Sunday is enlisting witnesses for Jesus Christ. So it's our opportunity as we serve on the diocesan level is to help form the witnesses, empower them, help them be confident so that they will go out and they'll
Right.
find them. We cannot wait for people to come to us. We have to go to them. Exactly what Father Josh did. The least likely or the most vulnerable. And so we need to bring them into the church, and we cannot be afraid to talk about it in the grocery aisles, to talk about it in the libraries and the coffee shops. And go after people and have the conversation. And it's not even having to, like totally quote the entire Bible. It's just the fact that we've had an experience with Jesus Christ, and to share that experience brings other people in, because they do wonder, and they want to know, and they want that passion. They want to know why you're so happy. Why are you at peace? Your life is in turmoil. Well, I'm at peace because I have the peace of Christ. And that's what I can share for you and with you. And that's our opportunity, is to accompany people. So missionary activity constantly, permanent state of mission is what Pope Francis asks us to do. And every day, all day, go out and find people.
Right. So I really like the idea that you guys are going to the deaneries and having these interactions, because I kind of sense sometimes that the DREs kind of get this idea that they're in charge and like they're going to do it their way, which is okay if it's with purpose. And sometimes we get so caught up in, we got 189 students, we got to do this. It's so mundane. It's so I don't know what the word is. It's structured. It's like the structure that's important instead of the message.
Right. Less event-oriented, more people-oriented is what I've been asking them to be focused on. Don't get so caught up in planning the event that you forget about the people that are in front of you. Because we get caught up as DREs in the logistics of everything, as youth ministers too. We get caught up in the detail. We do it ourselves when we're planning these big events. So what we try to do is make sure that we're focused on Christ, number one. Is this exactly what he's calling us to do and how to serve? And then make sure that the people in front of us are aware, and create an opportunity for encounter as we accompany them, so they can understand his love and his graces in their life and help them identify it. That's why these shows are so important. That's why we do Catholic television, because we want to share our stories. And through the medium of television, we're able to talk about our encounters and help people know that the life can be complex, but Christ is right beside you all day long.
Right.
We're never alone. Even though we feel alone, we feel hopeless, we may be desiring something that is not true, then you turn to Christ. It's simple, but it's, we get caught up in our minds, and we get lost in ourselves, and we forget, I don't need to do this alone. I have Jesus sitting next to me.
And it's his job.
Yeah,
It's my job to take a break.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll talk about all the stuff that is coming up that y'all have planned and all the good stuff, okay? So we're going to take a short break. You stay with us. On the other side of the break, we're going to continue with Olivia and Dina, and we're going to be talking about what's going on in evangelization and catechesis and youth ministry. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Catholic Life Television has created a beautiful aid to prayer with a recording of the recitation of the Rosary. The listener is invited to pray along with the voices and to meditate on the mysteries of the Rosary, whether at home, in the car, or on the computer.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Since the recording features voices from around the Baton Rouge diocese, as well as exquisite music from a local artist, it is entitled River Road Rosary. It is a convenient and inspiring way to include prayer into your day. This beautiful CD may be purchased for $15 plus tax by contacting the television office at 225-242-0218 or email us at television@diobr.org. also available at these stores.
Welcome back to Catholic Life, Ordinary People with Extraordinary Faith. I'm Deacon Jody Moscona. Thank you for staying with us through the break. We're back with Dina Dow and Olivia Gulino, and they are the mainstays at our Evangelization and Catechesis office here at the Diocese and Young Adult and Youth Ministry, which we're going to talk about next.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you stayed with us, and I'm excited to have y'all with us today, because I think the more the folks know that we're on their side, and that we're working for them and we're helping them, the more they can get behind what we're suggesting,
Yes.
and lead people right back here to the Lord. It's all about Jesus.
Amen. Yep.
So what you got going on?
Oh man, what don't we have going on?
I
Don't
love what I
stress
hear.
her out.
I love what I
Make me
hear.
think about
You want to
all-
talk about Red Stick first?
Well, actually, I want to talk about our young adult ministry first.
Good.
Just because since we were last here, that's really kind of exploded, but in a great way. So we've begun young adult ministry on a diocesan level, that extends throughout the year. So we have things going on every month. Pretty much every other week we have something going on for young adults in the diocese, whether it's on a smaller scale, like our book club or something like that, or larger scale events. But these Theology on Tap, our holy hours that we have, everything is followed up by like some kind of social, some kind of opportunity for people to get to know each other, because that's the number one thing. If you're wondering about like, what do I do for my young adults? Provide an opportunity for community, because that's really what they want. That's what they crave.
That's great.
And you can flank it with all sorts of things like formation, spirituality, prayer, whatever. But as long as community is there, and food, drinks.
People want
Yeah.
to be a part of something good.
Well, I mean, we're human beings. We have a natural desire to belong. And so if we don't find that sense of belonging somewhere, we're going to go find it or create it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's especially true of millennials. We'll find a place to belong if the church doesn't provide that for us. So, or provide an opportunity for us to grow that. So yeah, it's really been a beautiful thing to watch. Red Stick Catholics is like our office branding, but to watch the young adult branch of Red Stick Catholics really grow. We have a wonderful advisory team that helps to plan all of these things and actually makes it possible for us to do more things, because it's just me and West. So, and of course Dina and the rest of them, but they all have so much going on. So it's all hands on deck when it comes to making things happen. And there's it's so beautiful how much help we get. Like I have to almost turn people down because I don't have enough for them to do yet. And it's a beautiful problem to have.
That is great.
Yeah.
That is really great.
Yeah.
So the young adult, you would consider that college and above to maybe 30?
Yes, so that's the definition varies. I consider it 18 to like 35.
Okay.
But even that, you kind of have to stick to particular demographics. So if you're looking at a certain type of event, you have to target it almost to a certain age group. And generally you'll hit on like mid-20s. That'll be the people that will come to most things. But you never know. Depending on the speaker, at Theology on Tap, you might have more college-age kids. It kind of depends.
Depends on what.
But yeah, so it's about being vigilant about those different demographics. Young professionals want different things than 18-year-old college students.
Right.
So how do I cater to
that
those
makes
things?
sense, yeah.
But it's a good challenge to have, and it provides a lot of opportunity for creativity. So there's really no exhausting the things that we're able to do. Yeah.
That is awesome, because
good.
you get the sense that the young adults are kind of checked out of religion, and really it's not true.
Yeah, they're
It's
not.
really
They're not. And that's the
It's a
perception.
perception, but it's not true. It's just a perception.
And
And
even,
I think
I mean-
the media fosters that a little bit too, but we won't talk bad about the media today. We'll do that
Since
another
you're
time.
on that.
Well, what's interesting is Bishop Barron did a Reddit AMA. So Reddit is an online kind of chat room, and an AMA is just an Ask Me Anything. And he went on there for a couple hours a few weeks ago and just said, "Hey, I'm a Catholic bishop and a philosopher. Ask me anything." And he opened it only to atheists and agnostics, and he got just tons of questions. But someone asked him, I read the whole thread, and someone asked him, what do you find most interesting about engaging with atheists and agnostics? And he said how deeply interested they are in religion. And granted, the people on this site are millennials. They're 18 to 35, most likely. And that's like a general craving that we have. We want to know these things, and we're interested. And especially when you come to the Catholic sector, like when you're looking at Catholic young adults, they want it. They want it. They come out of the woodwork and tell you that they want it. I get so many emails of people saying, I want this, I want that. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? So it's there. It's just a matter of what we can do to cultivate it.
Right. And Father Eric at our parish is really focused lately on faith and reason.
Yes.
Because we're trying to combat, as Father Spitzer is, this whole idea that science disproves God, when it's just the opposite. You know, if you take the time to get the information and are willing to share it, it amazes people. It really does, and we're starting younger and younger with that now.
That's awesome.
Because they're getting it younger and younger at high school.
Oh,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's good. And they desire that. They desire the truth, and then they crave for more. The more we understand and hear the truth, the more we desire, the more we deserve. So it's our opportunity not to dismiss young people, and I don't like to call them millennials. You know, I mean, I have 5 children, you know, and they're all in their 20s. Well, one just turned 30, but still, you know, that generation.
Right.
And all we talk about is truth. So ask the hard questions.
Right.
And if you can't find an answer, somebody can find that for you. You know, it's easy to find. Just make sure you have a good resource, call your pastor, you know, but have opportunities for young people to come together beginning before they even finish confirmation. You know, keep that motivation going inside of them, because once young people get out of high school or even type of religious education formally, then it's a wide world. So how are we providing opportunities for young people to continue their faith formation and also commit to the responsibilities of college or working full time or maybe going into the military? You know, how do we help still continue to cultivate that? And simplistically, by getting them together and sharing good, solid theology and ways of prayer.
Right. I love what you said about community, because, you know, we weren't put on this earth to live in a vacuum. We were put this on earth to live together. And so naturally, everybody is looking for that place where they can get along with others and commune in a positive way with others. And if we can get them together and then get them to commune with Jesus in the Eucharist, perfection.
Right.
Yeah, because community is not just something that feels good or is nice. I mean, it is those things, but it's also like important for our salvation. I mean, Benedict says in Spe Salvi that no one is saved alone. No one is condemned alone either. We all depend on each other. And so that's why we try in our office to make everything that we do around, you know, the pillars of formation, but centrally on community. That's kind of where our idea for this Red Stick Catholic Fest came from too, is what can we do to provide intentional community for our diocese, for the youth of our diocese, in a way that's going to challenge them. You know, the kind of theme of the day is, why does faith matter? Why should you care? Because you have a lot of other things you could care about. So looking at that question, asking the hard questions, but also centering everything on the Eucharistic spirituality of our church and how beautiful that is, and how it's not only important for our salvation and for like strengthening of graces and things like that, but it's also like, if you want to be missionary, you have to have the Eucharist. If you want to ask tough questions and get answers, you have to have the Eucharist. If you want to do anything that involves diving deeper into your humanity, really, whether it's social justice or just, you know, studying philosophy or whatever, like, you have to have the Eucharist. There's no going without it. So that's one of the motivations behind this new event that we have.
And to put it in reality, you have to have Jesus, okay? So even the non-Catholic Christians know you have to have Jesus, you have to relation. Well, where did Jesus leave himself for us? In the Eucharist. So it all leads to him.
Absolutely.
You know, but so many people are out there not realizing it. We need to give them an opportunity to experience it. And it's in the experience that they find the relationship.
Which is
ultimately.
important to have these larger events. So Red Stick Catholic Youth Festival is such that.
And tell us the date again.
Yeah, that's on November 10th. It'll be at the Airline Fairgrounds. And like we said, it's open to high school youth, in parish youth groups and not parish youth groups. We also have things available for adult volunteers and adult leaders. But yeah, so it's one of those events that we want to get people together. We're going to have fun. We have like a battle for the red stick kind of thing between different parish youth groups and stuff. So there'll be games, there'll be talks, there'll be food, of course. But then, hey, the Italian is going to feed you. But like at the end, like I said, at the end of the day, like we end with Mass, we end with adoration. Like this is our focus. Everything that you want in life, all the chaos of your life, all the things that are uncertain, even the things that are certain, the things that you're grateful for, it all funnels into the Eucharist. And so that's like the last point, the last touch point of the day is we end in Eucharistic adoration and then we go. Because that's what we're called to do. We're called to gather people around the Eucharistic feast, to celebrate, to adore, to be strengthened as a community of faith, and then to go out and to be witnesses to that in a way that's inviting and in a way that's just beautiful, in the capital B meaning of the word beautiful.
Right.
And Bishop Duke will be with us, so it's going to be a nice day for the young people to have a chance to see Bishop Duke up close and personal.
Right.
And for him to be able to celebrate with the young people and the families of the diocese that day.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. I'm really taken back by the breadth of all that's going on, addressing these different age groups. Olivia, your presentation was fantastic, and it really did touch me in a lot of ways, because I've always been worried about young adult ministry. It's because experientially, we confirm them and we don't see them again until they get married, and we don't see them again until they baptize their kids. That's just a thing that many of us have experienced and have wondered, why and how, and I think your reach is great. I'm really, and I love the Red Stick celebration you're doing on November 10th. I actually have the little square
Stickers.
card.
Yeah.
I have it on my desk, and I have it right in front because I don't want to forget to remind Miss Duke
Right.
to do all that kind of stuff. Well, listen, thank you so much. We got to have a more frequent dialogue in front of the folks to let them know what's going on, and we'll just try to schedule it better.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Keep up the good job. We're so glad you're with us.
Thank you.
Spread the word for the good things that they are doing. Until next time, this is Deacon Jody. God bless everyone.